Welcome to Terrain by Aaron. That's me. I'm the guy that likes to build things out of toys and everyday junk. This week I revisit an old unfinished project to see if I can finish it. So you know what that means? Let's start scratching that build. To explain, I had an idea a while back to make a space station. I didn't like how it was going, so I shelved the project. Over the months it's got battered and bruised, so before I bin it, I want to see if I can complete this project. I ripped off another ceiling tile from the bathroom, it was hanging off, cut it down to shape and stuck down the engine part of a train. What I'm going to do is, as you'll see over the video, I'm going to over-engineer the underneath of this build very shortly. So 2 halves of one soap container that I'm going to use, and then also random bits of plastic junk I've been messing around with will go nicely on this build. As I said, this build started off as it was going to be a space station, but I soon scrapped that idea. What I wanted to build instead was something big, brash, in your face, like it could have a steampunk look to it. So I decided to build an aircraft carrier that sort of floated in the air, atmosphere, I was going to say. So what I'm basically doing at the moment is just sticking down random bits of plastic onto this ceiling tile. I use bits of containers, a fidget toy and parts from a plastic train. As I said, the underneath will be over-engineered as it won't be seen in the final shot. But if a mouse or a leprechaun came along to inspect the underneath, they wouldn't be unhappy with the detail. If you're new to the channel, then consider liking, subscribing and hit that notification bell. Every little helps. So this is still the underneath of the airship. I've bootlegged vintage 2016 plastic straws thrown onto this as piping. And there it is. The underneath doesn't look like anything at the moment, but it will after a coat of paint. You just have to trust the process and go with your gut. My original idea was to use BBQ sticks as legs. The principle was correct, but I put the project back on the shelf shortly after attaching these sticks for a few weeks because I was still feeling undecided to whether or not I liked the project, and that was a mistake as I again knocked it off the shelf and broke 2 of the BBQ sticks. To give the BBQ sticks a little texture, I just used some of these shrink wrap plastic covers that shrink down once you apply heat. Yeah, it's really good, just don't burn your fingers like I did. These 2 wing bits that I decided to build broke off in the build as well, so they're not included, so I'll skip this. Because it was a little rickety on its BBQ sticks, I decided to put some foam chunks on the bottom just to give it a stable base. Yep, because they broke off, this is waste as well, so we'll skip through this. You see, I leave all my mistakes in, so then if you're ever doing anything, at least you can see that I have the same mistakes as you guys. And as you can see, these legs aren't very stable. It looks like they've had 5 pints on a Friday night. And possibly a curry as well. So that was the bottom, let's concentrate on the top. This was all built from a ceiling tile because I'd changed my plans. Well, I say plans loosely because I don't really ever plan my builds, I just stick things together until I come up with something, a bit like how my life pans out. So what you saw me doing is sizing up a ramp, as I decided I wanted a ramp for my futuristic planes to take off and land from. Only one problem, I don't have any planes yet. I cut out some cardstock from an old cereal box just to cover the ceiling tile. Then it was greebly time. These are random bits of sprues from some old model kit that I'm just going to take bits off and just start attaching to the top of the airship. So what you saw me do was take everything off but kept the outer sprue, and I'm just going to use that as sort of like a piping to go around the edge of the airstrip, the ramp, ramp. Before we continue, it's code word time. If you've made it this far without passing out, leave the code word before your comment, just so I know that you're a viewer or a peeper, and the code word is talk to me goose. Okay, so what I did was the piping around the edge, and then I'm just going to start greebling up the edges with bits and pieces of random plastic basically. That pink thing I have in my hand, now behave, don't want any dirty minds on this this build. That is just a simple little mini highlight pen that I just used as an engine. I'm just laying down some extra strong PVA glue so then I can glue both sides of the airship together. And that's the bottom bit that I pre-sprayed just so it was easier to do. So that's all done, and then I just leave that for a while just to let that bond together. And as I said, I probably over-engineered the underneath of this, but hey look, it's done now. The only problem I had was how to make it stand, and then realised I had pipes in my bit box that I just stuck on, and yeah, so I just used pipes just as stands basically. So I'm going to use hair scrunchies just as piping. I'm going to use hair scrunchies simply because I can mould it around corners and stuff like that. Just put a bit of super glue on to harden it up, and hopefully once painted it will look like a pipe. Oh, and by the way, yes, you guessed it, these hair scrunchies, they're not mine, they're the other half's. She thinks she's lost them, but I've not showed her this build yet, otherwise she'd realise where her hair scrunchies went. Because I wanted this to look like kind of steampunkish, I used sprues all the way around the edges just to make it look like makeshift rag-taggled sort of barriers against aliens or whoever was fighting the other people. And then I stuck the landing strip, airstrip, ramp, takeoff, landing ramp thing, whatever I want to call it, onto the build. So now to cover the edges, I'm just going to use some normal acrylic black and just paint everything black. I found a pack of toys in the local thrift store that was of a couple of planes and some ships. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop some of these planes up to make them a little bit different to normal planes. Took apart the boat as well, and I'm just going to repurpose that and stick it as the bridge onto the top of my build. So there's one half of the boat upside down that I'm just going to glue onto the top of the airship. And then it was just a process of using all the other bits that I chopped up from the boats and just stuck them at strange angles or different ways just to try and bulk out the top of the airship. Just adding more bits and pieces from the chopped up boats. These miniguns came from the boat that I chopped up, so I just thought I'd stick them either side on the landing strip. And that's another bit of boat that I'm just going to stick on there. It's just basically bulking out this bit now before I get to the painting stage. This is one of my favourite containers to use on my builds. That is well, the outer bits are the container for Hubba Bubba chewing gum, and the inside bit that I took apart because I didn't like it was from makeshift pretend Lego apparently. who forgot to press record when he was spraying the top of the airship? Yes, I'll hold my hand up. So what I've done was just sprayed it and then put some masking tape down just so I can make some yellow lines just to break up all the grey and blackness of the airship. I went in with some antique copper just to paint some of the details of the underneath of the spaceship. This isn't going to be to everybody's taste, and I've had loads of comments saying that if I just took more time in my builds, blah 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 blah, that sort of stuff. Well, yeah, I do take time, and sometimes it might look easy or it might look terrible, but you know, I'm not a professional. I just build things because I like to build things, and so this is what I'm doing. I'm just painting certain bits antique copper because I think it stands out better on the base of the black. You see, the idea for this channel was basically to get people to just start making stuff out of random bits and pieces. You don't have to be a professional to do this stuff. It's just for fun, and you know, I just like building stuff for fun. So now what I'm doing is I'm repurposing some of these planes. Going to make them into sort of like, well, hopefully kind of like spaceships. I'm not going to do a lot to them. I'm just going to chop up some bits and pieces here and there, some wings, chop them down, chop the nose ends off, just to give it that sort of, make them look different. I know I keep going on about comments, but I had a recent comment that said that it didn't do it for him because it just looked like random bits of plastic stuck together. Well, yeah, that's basically what scratch building's all about, is trying to put random bits of plastic together to make something. So those sort of comments and those people that leave them comments kind of don't understand what scratch building's all about. It's about having fun, and when it stops being fun, I'll just fade away. But until then, I'm having too much fun. So, you know, if you don't like the channel, move on to a different channel. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest because, you know, I don't ask people for money, I don't have a Patreon page, anything like that. I do all this out of my own pocket, so whatever I make from YouTube is pittance. So that goes towards the cat food that I buy for my cat Charlie. So basically this is just basically a channel that I do things for fun. And if you don't get that, then definitely this channel is not for you. Anyway, sorry about the rant, but back to the build. I'm just going to start spraying these planes now. I'm just going to put some little details on these planes, nothing fancy, just a bit of red here and there, a bit of yellow here and there, just to give them some sort of markings. And then I thought I'd go in with the panel liner just to see if I can get the panels to come up, and yeah, it kind of worked. Look, you know, I try this stuff so then you don't have to make the same mistakes, basically. I was thinking about the underneath of the airship and found these lights, wired lights, and decided to try and put them underneath the airship just to give it a bit of light, just so you could see some of the detail, because there's an awful lot of detail that is going to waste underneath that airship. So I'm going to do a little test run with the lights. So here we go. Here's the Michael Bay shot, and 1, 2, 3. Hello. Yeah, kind of worked. Didn't really work, but hey, look, there's lights underneath the airship now. So I'll leave you with a quick montage of what I did to weather up the airship. I just used some chipping with the other half's makeup sponge. Yep, I'll wash it, it's alright, don't worry about it. It'll be back in a box before she knows. So I did that with the sponge and then went in with some weathering powders, and then it's on to the glamour shots. So as always, thank you very much for stopping by. Sorry about the rant, but you know, it comes every so often when you get the armchair warriors that have never built anything in their life and just think they know it all. So until next time, thanks for watching and keep scratching that build, everybody.